Is this a drill or something?
Warning, the following video contains spoilers to Star Wars Rogue One. Rogue One bridges the gap beautifully between Episode 3 and A New Hope, so much so it feels like a love letter to the expanded universe and, perhaps more importantly, fans. We have a ton of nods and Easter eggs to the franchise as a whole, but as Rogue One is followed directly by the events of A New Hope, it is now a game changer at potentially how you can perceive some key scenes in the film. So here are 8 things in Rogue One which dramatically change how you view Star Wars A New Hope.
We intercepted no transmissions. This is a consular ship. We're on a diplomatic mission.
Vader encounters Leia. Vader is a badass, there's no question. He just annihilated a squad of rebels single-handedly, chasing down the Death Star plans to the Tantive 4, which makes its unceremonious escape. When he boards the ship in A New Hope and Leia tries the, "I don't know what you're talking about, I'm on a diplomatic mission," it now becomes like an episode of Cops where you see a perpetrator, they're swerving around the road, the cop sees him hit a mail sign, and then they pull him over, and the guy's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan. I'm drunk. I have no idea." It becomes almost comedic, that line coming out of her mouth. She's honestly lucky Vader didn't put his boot in her ass like he just did to 30 rebels, though he did torture her for information for a few hours on the Death Star. Compared to the guys on Scarif Battle, she got away pretty lightly.
The rebellion will continue to gain support in the Imperial Senate.
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
Krennic's Death Star. Everybody knows who runs things on the Death Star. Tarkin. Even Vader takes an order or two from him, until you realize that Tarkin basically usurped the position from poor opportunist Krennic. And while you see him easing into the role quite nicely in A New Hope, you can't help but think back to Krennic and feel a little bad. Tarkin unsold on the Death Star. In Rogue One, he had to be shown the power of it first by Krennic. He definitely wasn't all about the Death Star as much as Krennic, which Krennic spent years painstakingly getting the weapon portion ready and putting the final touches on it, trying to kiss up to the Emperor. So when you see Wilhuv blowing up Alderaan, that was the first time he walked around the potential of the formidable weapon. It was at that point he was selling the rest of the galaxy on its destructive capabilities as well.
R2-D2, where are you?
Leia's genius with R2. When you see Leia give R2 the Death Star plans in A New Hope, there's an immediate sense of urgency. A desperate gambit to get the Death Star plans to Obi-Wan to kickstart the destruction of the Death Star. However, after seeing Vader straight up annihilate a squad of rebels, cutting a bloody path to the Tantive 4, boarding that bitch, and mowing down the rest of the organics as they desperately scramble in an attempt to flee, you see that Leia putting the plans in a seemingly benign droid like R2 with a mission to get to Obi-Wan was a super well executed, incredibly quick thinking, and damn lucky that those guys on the turbo lasers didn't blast it out of the sky.
Since you are reluctant to provide us with the location of the rebel base, I have chosen to test this station's destructive power on your home planet of Alderaan.
Leia's loss becomes more devastating. Rogue One is incredibly selfless. We see the rebels and their innumerable losses and desperate gambles, and it really cements just how high the stakes are, especially for Leia Organa. So for her to be so damn resilient when the Empire tortures her, blows up her entire peace-loving planet of Alderaan no less, losing her father, everybody she loves. We've seen the rebellion just get the crap kicked out of them, and she is just trying to hand off the Death Star plans to Obi-Wan to get the help to stop them from blowing up more planets. She still has the strength to comfort Luke. Luke, who is grieving the loss of an old man he referred to as a strange old hermit within the last 48 hours. That is one tough individual.
Pull in, run, pull in. Watch your back, Luke. Watch your back. Punch, coming in.
how murky the foundation of the rebellion is. A New Hope has a bunch of dudes, sitting in a war room, 70s haircuts on fleek, just ready to gear up and blow up the Death Star, you know? Because the Empire is bad and the rebellion is good. Well, it's not so much. After you see Cassian's hand in wet work and the moral sludge the rebellion dredges through, casually just putting hits on the slightest perceived threat, whether Imperial, civilian, or heck, even Rebel, you can get the scope that the rebellion is a ragtag bunch of people teetering on the brink of destruction, and to beat the Empire, unfortunately, sometimes you gotta play by their rules. Which kind of makes me wish that the "what will you become" line from Saw Gerrera made it in, because clearly the rebellion had become something darker than they originally anticipated and wanted to be.
Only a precise hit will set up a chain reaction. The shaft is ray shielded, so you'll have to use proton torpedoes.
That's impossible, even for a computer.
But it's not impossible. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
Luke's a real hick. We saw the rebellion's best band together on Scarif in a daring attempt to find and transmit the Death Star plans. We saw Jyn deliver a riveting speech to the band of rebels together and fight the Empire. Now, you fast forward to A New Hope. They've been through hell, and are in desperate need of help. So desperate that, hey, they even allow Luke Skywalker in. Hey, wait, what's wrong with Luke Skywalker, I hear you ask? Okay, imagine you're sitting in a war room, talking about making a near impossible shot and trying to get pilots' reactions. Just gauge the room's feel. We have near impossible mission, it's gonna get crazy, I'm letting you guys know. Now, some 19-year-old punk walks in and exclaims, with great pride, "A meter wide in diameter? I used to eviscerate small animals for my own sadistic pleasure on a backwater planet, guys. GG, easy, lols, I'll blow up the Death Star and be back in time for dinner." Like, would you meet that with a standing ovation and chorus of cheers? Or secretly hyperventilate into a doggy bag because everyone is doomed and some idiot kid will have a half chub thinking about killing rats while he attempts to save everyone? This is a very different rebellion compared to what we saw in Rogue One.
The regional governors now have direct control over their territories. Fear will keep the local systems in line. Fear of this battle station.
Karma is a real bitch for Tarkin. There has been lots of Tarkin talk in this video, and that's probably because he was incredibly prominent in both films. However, as far as karmic justice goes, Tarkin got his own taste in full effect. Ooh, it's so sweet. As he so callously utilized Krennic's weapon against him on Scarif while he was helpless on the surface, seizing power of the mechanical monstrosity and believing he had secured total victory for the Empire. His arrogance ensured his doom as he inevitably suffered a similar fate to Krennic, being blown up by the thing that he was a stalwart believer in. Which begs the question, if Krennic was left alive on Scarif, would he have been aboard the Death Star at Yavin, and would Tarkin still be alive instead? But the beauty of this video is, it is just the start of the discussion. Our love for Star Wars surrounds and it binds us together. So let me know in the comments below, how did Rogue One change A New Hope for you? Because if you love Star Wars, I want to talk to you about it. It's as simple as that, my friends. If you want to stay up to date with the latest Star Wars videos on origins, games, and theories, don't forget to use those force powers of yours and hit subscribe. And hey, leave a comment below about what you want to see in future videos. It may just get covered. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you. Always.